Hello and welcome to this special show from Chennai's Marina Beach. Well, the sun has risen here in the Marina Beach and the temperature is rising. The cool morning breeze is done with, and now it's going to be a hot day here in Chennai. Political temperature also rising as Chennai and Tamil Nadu's 39 parliamentary seats, along with the one extra from Puducherry. So, total 40 Lok Sabha seats going to polls on the 19th of April in the first phase, in one phase. So, how does Chennai view this election? How does the entire gamut of issues that are playing out in the country see from the Chennai's point of view? I have with me a fascinating bunch of Chennaiites here who are all bright up and early in the morning after their idli vada pongal. They've all had their coffee, all waiting for an election season to come to a close, starting with our NDTV's very own Sam Daniel. We also have with us ex-IAS officer Rangaraj, who had tried his hand at electoral politics but now has stuck to coaching students as well and civil service aspirants, and a fascinating bunch of Chennaites who I'll introduce as we go along. But first, Rangaraj, over the last 10 years, the divide between Chennai and Delhi, has it been growing? And if it has, what are the consequences of it?
Yeah, so if you look at it, I would say the distance between the central government and the state government has been growing. So we are one country. So I don't think there is any division between the people of this country, but the distance between the central government and state government may be increasing in the past few years. And I feel there are two main issues for that. One is the perception, in terms of uh, the north versus south divide that is brought in terms of financial devolution or in terms of political importance that is there for the south. But I think we shouldn't look at it as a north versus south divide because we are one country, as I told you. But there are issues. There is a challenge between equity and efficiency when it comes to financial devolution, and there is a challenge between democracy and federalism when it comes to political participation. I'll explain it as we go along, but I think these are two issues which needs to be addressed to
Okay.
ensure that the distance is
Okay, but
little.
what is really, how is all this playing out in the electoral field? I mean, there has always been an identity one has associated with Chennai. I mean, you guys are all old Chennaiites. Some of them chartered accountants, some of them teachers. This is Aparna. Um, you know, uh, in a sense, has this divide and what's happening in terms of the political atmosphere hardened the identities, the local identity, the linguistic identity?
I think the public discourse is at odds with what's happening on the ground because I got married into Chennai 25 years ago. 25 years ago, in grocery shops, in restaurants, or just generally walking, you wouldn't find local people responding in Hindi. But now, especially in the grocery stores and in restaurants, you will find customers also. The waiters, obviously, we are having like a labor kind of churn. So a lot of people from northern parts of India coming and working as waiters, as servers in restaurants, they are obviously speaking in Hindi. But the thing is, the customers are replying in Hindi. So that's the change I find here. And I also find that when you travel, we are a country of pilgrimages. So there are people coming down to Rameshwaram. There are people going up north to Badrinath and all that. You will hear a lot of Tamil, and there will be people soliciting you. Amma vanga, podve vanganga, like that. So I think there's a
Business
discord.
can often transcend the divide. I don't know what can transcend the heat though. It's already getting really very hot here in
Nothing
this,
can transcend the heat except the air conditioner.
except the air conditioning, and we can't air condition Marina Beach.
Yes,
So
definitely not. We usually avoid coming here after 7.
the
Yeah.
lesson is do this kind of a show at 7 or 6:30 a.m.
Yeah,
after
or in
7.
evening, yeah,
Yeah,
PM.
but campaigns actually start very early in the morning here as far as Chennai is concerned. I mean, some candidates start campaigning as early as 7 a.m. But coming back to that language divide, how does that play out in terms of the insider outsider? While there is one section which is accepting of it, is there, you know this is a city which has been very proud about its sort of identity and its linguistic heritage, etc., etc. Is that hardening? How is the national political scenario impacting that?
No, I think the local scenario that is outside of the media, there is no divide because taking on building on what she said, when these boys come from the north, from Bihar and West Bengal and all that, within a week they have learned to speak Tamil. They have no exposure to English or anything like that. They say no, the necessity is the mother of invention. If you have to survive, you will do what it takes. I think no, the language policy is left alone. India will be organically integrated by itself. The people will get integrated by their own. Nobody should touch that topic at all.
Exactly.
They will learn whatever it takes for them to survive.
Okay, so you're saying don't touch the topic, people will learn to survive, but then politics, I think, thrives sometimes on identities, and
It
this one.
need not.
Yeah,
It need not.
you're right. It need not. Padma, you've come all the way from the UK to cast your vote in these elections. Why is this election so important to you? I mean, is this like any other election, or is there something different about it?
Every election is very important, and that's the one time I get to exercise my franchise as a citizen. Unfortunately, it's a 50% vote from my household because my husband is in London. Though they have a Form 6A, which I filled in, but I don't know whether he'll be able to vote there. I think voter awareness is the most important thing. We need to get more people to come out and be where we can say, hey, my vote counts. And can I touch upon the state
So,
versus central? Is it
yeah,
possible?
we've just discussed that state versus center thing, and I will come back to it. But I just want to address also a little bit about the aspirations of the city. I mean, in terms of, can I be provocative and ask that is there a challenge with Bengaluru when it comes to the techie population of the city? You work with the IT industry here in Chennai. What is the sense? I mean, is there still a sense that look, we're not maybe cosmopolitan enough? Could I make that provocative statement?
Raghav, what would I say on this particular thing is Chennai's IT infrastructures keep developing year on year, and I would like to say the whole Indian startup infrastructures keep developing. You could see like Startup India has been started in 2015 by the central government, now central government, and the Startup Tamil Nadu initiative has also been started like it's been 4 years, I think. But the actual schemes which have been communicated, which have been given by the central government, is not being enough communicated here in the state government. So that is being one part where we are not able to get the maximum benefits which the other states, other communities are getting.
But
Because
that's a deeper issue. I'm talking perception wise. Do you think Chennai is lagging behind Bengaluru? Quick one from all the Chennaites here.
yeah, it might be a couple of years Chennai is lagging behind Bengaluru right now.
Okay, okay.
Definitely, yes. But one of the reasons is this heat. The people who come down from the US to set up their offices, they don't want this heat. You can't do anything about it.
I think
They want
It's
us-
growing very
yes.
organically. There are many startups I know are moving
really.
people also here because people want to
Yeah.
work closer to home.
Looking at the
Yeah.
water
Many
crisis in
companies-
Bengaluru, Chennai may look like heaven now.
Yeah.
So
You're taking a,
I think I think every city has its own charm, has its own
I think in terms
significance.
of perception, we may seem, less cosmopolitan, so to say. But I don't think on ground it's
I've
really.
always
but,
noticed
uh,
that this comparison with Bengaluru often provokes every Chennaiite. huh?
Yeah,
that
when
goes back to the
yeah,
Kaveri
20
issue, I
years
think.
back, no, 20 years back, no, people who went from Chennai to settle in Bangalore, they used to say Bangalore feels like a village, but now it's totally different. It's like huge, and we are still where we were 20 years back. And the
coming back-
rate at which we are growing, no,
What
is
I
not
would like to
coming
say
down.
is the growth of tier 2 and tier 3 cities here in Tamil Nadu is rapidly increasing. Even in Karnataka, it's increasing. But here in Tamil Nadu, a lot of investments have come in for tier 2 and tier 3 cities like Coimbatore, Tirchi, and Thoothukudi, this kind of cities.
Okay, that's as far as that.
Yeah, so I just want to harp on the divide, or rather the distance, right? So I think we should understand that we are a multi-linguistic and a multi-regional country, and the voting patterns have always varied. For example, in 1977, post the emergency, when the entire northern part of India voted out the incumbent Congress and the Indira Gandhi government, Tamil Nadu voted overwhelmingly in favor of the Congress ADMK combined. I mean, it could have been due to the MGR novelty factor that time, but the fact is the people here felt different. 2014, ADMK won 37 seats. 2019, the DMK alliance won 39 seats. I think it's wrong to assume that just because people of a particular state do not vote, for the incumbent central government that they are different or they are away from the mainstream. I think each state has its own uniqueness, even in terms of its political discourse. And once the elections are over, I think the role of the central government is to ensure that the electoral differences are forgotten, and
Right.
the overall
No,
sanity is
that's a
maintained.
very important point that you make there. Don't just say this. Don't decide on the identity of a state on the basis of its electoral choice. But Sam, in this election, and I'm just getting you in to weigh in on all this conversation. I don't want to ask you about the Bengaluru part of it. We'll get into a tussle on that. But in terms of election and the defining theme for it, is it is it that whether the old narrative remains firm? Is it going to be a firmly Tamil Nadu centric and Tamil Nadu kind of narrative, or is it something that's going to be different this time? Is that the defining theme of this election?
At least two parties, VeeraRaghav, both the ruling DMK and the AIDMK, are focusing on federalism and states' rights. In that sense, the traditional issues Tamil Nadu normally pushes through, they've gone to the backbone in that sense. But for DMK, it's like what they call as financial discrimination by the center, what they call as the center snatching away rights of state governments. The AIDMK puts it a different word, saying that they are fighting for states' rights. For the BJP, it's of course what they call as corruption versus family politics targeted towards the ruling DMK.
Yeah, so interesting issues that pan out as far as these elections are concerned. I'm going to get into a little bit of a contentious issue, which I think a lot of people outside of Chennai don't understand. This is the Carnatic music divide that one has seen, and it's perhaps reflective of this politics, right? You had a very fierce debate going on over T.M. Krishna's Sangeeta Kalanidhi Award. Artists have spoken, singers have spoken. Where do you all? I mean, I'm sure you're a fan of Carnatic music as well. How do you see it? Does it really matter? How do we explain this? The passion that comes out for a particular community on this issue.
No, actually, if you see the larger picture, it's a storm in a teacup. Maybe not even a storm. Slightly, you stir the coffee in the cup with a spoon. It doesn't make any difference to anybody. But surprisingly, T.M. Krishna didn't open his mouth. He didn't get into this because I think this time, for the first time, he was afraid that he will get bashed publicly.
Oh, okay. Is that why? I mean,
Bashed, I mean verbally. Okay.
No, I have a different take on this. As Walter
what
said,
is it that
no,
arouses such
no, no,
passion
no.
about
As Walter said, I may disagree with you, but I'll defend till my death your right to say what you want to say. So I think it's a individual choice, and more importantly, the surprising thing for me is many of these, and I am illiterate as far as Carnatic music is concerned, but there was a huge Me Too movement that surfaced a few years ago, which resulted in some of the top artists being debarred from performing at the music academy. But I did not see this kind of backlash, for that issue,
it? Is that
as
is
much
that
as
No,
for
actually, it
this.
was there. So many
And
musicians
Nobody
were
returned their awards.
funny about
No,
the,
so
the
Nobody returned their award
timing,
for
the
that.
no, so
announcement.
many musicians were kept away from the music academy for quite a few years after that.
Yeah, but is this reflective? The passion of it is this reflective of a uniquely Chennai phenomenon? The passion that's involved with this, with which this conversation has been going on.
Yeah, I mean, it is part of a tradition of a culture that is part of Chennai, so to say, and the art form. And yeah, so people feel very strongly. I mean, it's like your favorite actor or your actress or your
Yeah,
favorite,
but as
film
she said,
singer. So
I think the debate is restricted to a minuscule population in the
Yeah,
entire
it
state. So
doesn't
it
even
really
make a difference to the political scene now.
But I would like to say I like TM Krishna's music a lot. So to recognizing that talent is very important. As far as what he says, I don't agree with many of the things, and I know many artists are going around communicating what he wants. Right, music for all, taking the Carnatic music, which is so classic and so you need to. It's not an easy thing to learn to the masses. So
and there
and
are
it's a good
people.
cause. So I'm all for it, for all for the debate. Out of the churn comes the order. So
In fact,
And
there are people who are on the right side of things who are also doing their bit to popularize the music
and
at
the
a lower level, singing in
So
street
would I be
corners
right
no,
and
if
no,
I
the
say
places.
thing is,
Carnatic music, filter coffee, and a comparison with Bengaluru can spark off a strong conversation in Chennai
no,
any
I
day?
just want to add one more thing.
Doesn't affect
Whatever
the overall political
no,
climate of the
whatever
state.
TM
So
Krishna professes to do, as in trying to make Carnatic music inclusive, it is already happening on the popular front, like
Yeah.
the Carnatic progressive bands like Aham
Agam.
and some other people from Bangalore. They are performing Carnatic in jeans and t-shirt on the stage, and you don't know who their audience are.
So
They
I
are
think
from
just,
across
just
the
one
world.
concluding remark from me, of course, if you
Sam
want to.
will give the final
Yeah,
one.
yeah. So just one thing, a potentially disruptive thing which can happen is the delimitation exercise, where I think it should not make and it's not a north-south divide. It even states, smaller states in North India like Punjab and Haryana or the northeastern states will lose their political significance if it is proposed to be done the way it is to be done. Nobody has said how it is to be done, but I think we can take the US model. It doesn't make a difference whether an MP represents 10 lakh population or 30 lakh population. Anyways, they have to go and legislate in the parliament. So I think we can freeze the number of seats at 543 as it exists now, and empower the local bodies, which is how democracy flourishes
Okay,
and
that's
thrives.
one point of view. It's part of discussion. Fascinating bunch, as I told you, of Chennaiites who braved the heat, early morning heat in this city, all sweating out right here for this conversation. But final word from you, Sam. If there was a defining theme for these elections, from a Chennai point of view, from a Tamil Nadu point of view, what would that be?
One, of course, the political parties are focusing on states' rights, but largely the local population will vote on the basis of how the government responded during the recent calamity, be it the floods, be it the cyclone impact. Also, they'll also point the same questions at the center, particularly the issues which the ruling DMK raises, that the center did not really release adequate funds for addressing or rehabilitating, restoring the
Okay.
damaged or ravaged areas in Tamil Nadu.
So these are the issues that will play out. That's the conversation from Chennai, from Marina Beach in Chennai. It's getting hotter and hotter. As it always does in Chennai city. Obviously, the political temperature, as I mentioned at the start, is rising. We'll keep a close track of every twist and turn in this campaign in all the southern states. Stay tuned for much more from us.